We're on to our third lovely speaker of the night, who I want to introduce to you. My very dear friend, Shirley Donnally, and I want to say that her lab coat is not a joke. She is actually, it's not just for the show, she actually has over 40 years experience in laboratory medicine, and she knows what she's talking about. She often refers to herself as a lab rat. She is also, like me, a certified tantric educator since 2008, an experiential somatic intimacy coach, and most recently, the organizer and co-founder of our local orgasmic meditation community. Any of you omers out there might do a little woo-hoo about that. Which is currently at 50 members and growing. We're very excited about that. The Om Interest Group of Southern Oregon. And I want to say, too, that she is developing a very exciting program. She didn't put this on her intro. That's called Sexy, Satiated, and 60. And I want to introduce to you my dear, sexy, satiated friend, Shirley Donnally.
Thank you, Kimmy. Wow. Thanks, everyone. What a night, huh? So I'm just so delighted to be here, and I wanted to wear this because, you know, scientists, we all can be sexy too, you know. You never know what you're going to find under a lab coat. So I'm here to talk about orgasmic meditation and how lovely to follow Kim, who just talked about the arousal cycle. And I'm going to propose that really everybody out here in the audience, and myself included, are here in various forms of arousal or orgasm already. And I just really appreciate how you got here. Some of you got here through your desire as soon as you heard about this sexy event. You immediately got online and got your tickets, and your orgasm started from that very point. And here you are. And maybe you were a little bit curious and a little bit afraid, but your desire body got you through that because you wanted to be here more than you were afraid of not being here. So I really appreciate everybody in the audience right now. I'm going to suggest to you that it's all about the journey, not the destination. We've heard that in many other ways, but believe me, as far as our orgasmic state, it's really true. It's all about the moment, the yummy moment from your desire body starting all the way to orgasm, the pre-stage of that, and finally climax. Tonight, for purposes of this talk, we're going to talk about orgasm in terms of all of that period before the climax. Some people call an orgasm climax. In our group and in the studies that I do, we call orgasm the state just up to climax. So I just wanted to make sure that y'all knew the difference between that. So what does that mean? Well, we have a masculine model of orgasm and we've got a feminine model of orgasm. And so to demonstrate that it really is about the journey, I just want to do a little drawing over here because it is a science thing, you know. So here's a drawing of the masculine. You start at 0 and you go to 60 in 60 seconds. If you're lucky. Sometimes less, right? So media, they sold a lot of cars based on this. They sold a lot of little red sports cars, as I remember. So the difference between the masculine model and the feminine model starts here and goes here and here and over here and oh my gosh, over here and down here. And, oh wait, over here, yeah, that. Oh, I love that. Oh no, wait. Oh. And then back up again. Oh my gosh. So yummy. She goes all over the place.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. So there's a song that says, "Take the long way home." So you might want to think about that for the feminine model. We do take the long way home. So I want to tell you that this orgasmic state that we stay in that feminine model, during that state, the body produces all kinds of feel-good chemicals, like dopamine, serotonin, pheromones, a little lab humor for you folks, and a really big one, oxytocin. And you can read this, but cuddling literally kills depression, relieves anxiety, and strengthens our immune systems. So there's a lot of benefits to this long journey with no agenda and no destination, no place to get to. And all of these chemicals rejuvenate, reinvigorate, and heal all our cells. We're being bathed in that the whole time. So that's what happens to our cells. We get rejuvenated, we get young again. And that's why I truly believe this is our true fountain of youth. That's the premise of my talk tonight. So Big Pharma knows this. Big Pharma has tried to recreate these substances and then sell them back to us. But we all know there ain't nothing like the real thing, baby. So the more of those substances we can give ourselves naturally, just the better for our body. So this really is our true fountain of youth. And I want you to think about that as you're journeying through this lecture tonight and as you take this out into the world. Taking a breath, because I have a corset on. I'm going to make sure I got enough air left, and yeah. So here's the personal part for me. So I'm a tantrika, and I had spent a long time studying tantra, and I actually hosted a workshop here at the Wellsprings, and brought my teachers here, and I was hosting that, and I was really into tantra and all the prolonged activity of tantra, all the preparation and the candles and flowers and the essential oils, and it's a big deal to do a tantra thing. So one day in the session, this mysterious man walked into the middle of the room and asked me if I'd like to go to lunch with him, and he was going to tell me about this experience. He was trained in Morehouse, and maybe I'd be interested in it. And when he first told me about it, I was like, whoa, that's a stretch, even for me. So this picture here is the technique of Morehouse. So Morehouse had a training and a teacher that taught that if you stroked the clitoris in the 1 o'clock position, the upper left quadrant, for a period of 15 minutes to an hour, sometimes 2 hours, that you could create these orgasmic states where all these good things were happening. And so, of course, I'm curious, and I'm more curious than I am afraid. So I said, okay. And so we started doing this practice together. And even though I'd practiced all the breathing techniques and eye gazing of Tantra, all of a sudden, in this amazing process with this partner that I had, my limbic brain got activated. And for the first time in my life, my limbic brain, my reptilian brain, took over. I mean, I went out of my body. My body was gone, and so was my neocortex. All of my scientific, how to do it, how to get it done, the critic voice, the skeptic, gone. And so I started, and during our practice sessions, I started to just really see the benefits of being in these states more and more. And sometimes it can be for minutes, sometimes it can be for an hour, sometimes over an hour. Depends on whether you have to go to work or do some housework, get some stuff done, but there's no limit to the feminine arousal system. It's limitless. Then, fast forward 7 years, because that was 2008. So 2015, some friends of mine start bugging me about this book, Slow Sex. And they say, in our community right here, we really want to know about orgasmic meditation. We really want to have a community of orgasmic meditators right here. And there's a big operation going on in the Bay. Nicole Dodone is the founder of this. Well, Nicole herself is a Morehouse student. And she took the Morehouse practice, which is kind of a long and lengthy thing, and she turned it into this 15-minute practical application that practically anybody can do. It's repeatable. It's got a firm limit. There's format that keeps it very safe for everyone and very reproducible. So think about that. 15 minutes. 15 minutes can change your whole day or your week, maybe even your life. 15 minutes, you dry your hair, brush your teeth, shave, put on makeup. I think it might be worth checking out. So now, here's some more science. So in these states, in this orgasmic state, what happens is our desire body reaches over for satiation, gets filled up by this whole bathing of chemicals, spending time with another person, deep in connection, receiving touch, receiving connection, receiving purpose again sometimes. It's a really, really deep experience. And it's a short amount of time, 15 minutes, but it can be expanded in the time-space continuum. When your desire body is satiated, you become more sovereign. You now have ownership. You now have confidence. You're not coming from this needy, hungry place. You get filled up in these sessions. Some of the other benefits are vitality, homeostasis, orgasm, and ultimately bliss. There are people that do this practice that stay in those states for very long periods of time and get super blissed out. So here's a quote from Nicole in her book. She did a TED Talk, and she actually quoted this TED Talk in the TED Talk, and she got so much interest and publicity because it's so true. In the Western world, the mantra, our mantra is, and she said it was for women, but I really think it applies to all of us. I eat too much, I drink too much, I work too much, I spend too much money. And you can insert your own too muches here, because I'm sure you've got some. And we also know that sex sells, but I'm going to propose to you that lack of sex sells more. Because the media and the marketplace knows that we're hungry for something. And they're trying to give us all this stuff to buy to fill up our hunger. They're trying to give us stuff like cosmetics and clothing and cars and things to fill this need that we have. But this hunger that we have for connection and touch and purpose is so deep that the only way you can really touch it is by being in deep connection with someone else or yourself. So here's some more science. We have two systems that work here in our autonomic system. We have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. So our sympathetic, you've probably heard of it before, it's the fight or flight thing. So when it's called to action, it makes your heart beat faster, it constricts your blood vessels, it pumps cortisol and adrenaline, epinephrine into your system like crazy, and it really gets you ready for something. You're ready, I'm so ready. And stress activates our sympathetic system. So if you're ready and you've got all this stuff in your heart rate's beating, it's great if there's a saber-toothed tiger in the area. That's wonderful. But if there isn't, and now you're just primed for this, you're carrying all that stuff around in your body. Cortisol is really hard on the body it creates body fat, and it's got a lot of really harmful if it stays around in the body. And the other one now is the parasympathetic, and that's called the feed or breed one. So this is the one that we feel more relaxed in. Nursing mothers feel it a lot. It produces oxytocin. It relaxes the blood vessels. It calms the nervous system. It increases our digestion and our saliva so that we are feeding and breathing. And I have a scale here that when one of these gets out of balance, it's not good. Either way, it's not good. So I'm going to demonstrate with a scale. Why not? So let's say you're sympathetic. This is the sympathetic side of things. I'm so glad they provided music. So let's say you have a fight with your partner last night. Now you don't sleep so well. All night long you're not sleeping. And because you don't sleep so well, now you've overslept. And because you've overslept, you don't get to have breakfast. And because you don't get to have breakfast, you spill coffee and tea all over your shirt. Now you got to go change your shirt. And this scale is made for me specifically. It's a little delicate. And you go to the bathroom and there is no toilet paper. So that's just it. That's the ultimate. So here we go. Way out of balance. And like I said, there's no safety valve, no release thing for this currently, except for these states of flow that we get into, which I'm going to talk about later. You might go for a run. You might go work out. You got to have something to let that off. So the same is true for this other side. Now we'll get these things out of here. Props. So let's say you did go to work and you had a really hard week. And now it's the weekend, it's Friday night. And you want to just hang out. You're so tired and you deserve it because you worked really hard. So you're just going to go hang out on the couch for a while. And then you think, I'm just going to crack open a beer or two. That would feel good right now. I really deserve that. I worked really hard this week. And then you might grab the remote for the TV. And you're going to look for some kind of mindless television, something that will entertain you but doesn't have a real lot of seriousness to it, because there's a lot of seriousness out there. I just want to go away for a little while. Then you go and you get that bag of chips that's been up on your refrigerator all week, and you say, I know I'm not going to feel so good tomorrow, but I really want those chips. I really need to. I worked hard, and then I just want to chill. And then if you're really bad, you're going to go and make a box of macaroni and cheese, because your mama used to make that for you and made it feel really good. So you're going to just consume that. And again, totally out of balance. So, back to this model again, this model of balance and harmony. So there's this great thing called flow. When both of these systems are working together in harmony, they complement each other so well that everything just is, and it's so easy, and you just are. So this guy, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, he wrote this book called Flow, and it's the psychology of optimal experience. And he talks about optimal experience being when you're so immersed in something that it consumes you, and everything else falls away. Time falls away, all of the stress out there falls away, everything just makes sense. And so in this orgasmic meditation state that we get into, it's one of the only times that the sympathetic and the parasympathetic are working together at the same time to achieve flow. There's other ways to achieve flow too. Some of you guys already have this in your life. So there's music. Lots of people either play music or listen to it. That's a beautiful way to be in flow. Certainly meditation can get you into a state of flow. Art. Chess. A lot of people play chess to be in flow. There's yoga, especially nude yoga. That's a good way to be in flow. And maybe nude surfing, whatever rings your bell. And I know you have ways of getting in flow yourself. So I'm a musician, and I'm going to pick music. That's me and my horn. I love playing my horn. So when I'm in an orgasmic meditation practice for 15 minutes with my partner, I want to say how important that is to me, because one of the things about this practice is there's a knowledge that we can't tickle ourselves. We can't get ourselves into a state where my limbic brain kicks in by itself. If I tickle myself, I know what's coming. I can't navigate that, and I can't surprise myself. But my partner can, my conductor can. And so when I'm in more orgasmic meditation, there's this really beautiful wave that I'm riding with this conductor where I just get to be. I get to be, and I just get to be the music and play and be myself. And it's just really delicious to hang out there. And again, going back to the good stuff, all those chemicals, the whole time I'm in that state, they're bathing all of my cells, and they're bathing my brain, and they're really helping keep me young and sexy. So we go back to this diagram again. When all these things are working together, there's balance, and there's sovereignty. And when you combine sovereignty and desire, and you take that out into the world, and you take it out to your jobs, and you take it to your kids, and you take it to your community, take it to things you're passionate about, it's a whole new world out there. Everything changes. From this balanced state, we really can make a big difference in our lives and in our community. And there's one more medical thing I want to bring up. This is really interesting to me. I just found this out. So there's this huge book of medical disease and disorders that's coming out this year. And we used to have one called ICD-9, and now we have one, it's so big, it has to be 10. In this book, there's a new disorder. It's the hypoactive female sexual disorder. So I propose to you and me and the scientists and the doctors, we don't have any disorder. We don't have this disorder. We have a pleasure deficit. Kim talked about it a little bit. We make time for everything else in the world. We often don't make time for our own pleasure and to be in these orgasmic states. So at the very least, if you take that away from here, take a little time. to activate and stimulate and drink from your own fountain of youth tonight. There's so much fun stuff to do out there. So go out there and drink it up because it's such good stuff for us. It's really important. And I just want to tell you right now, my orgasmic state is really stimulated. I'm feeling so much serotonin and oxytocin by just being seen and heard by all of you. And I feel that you really see me in this message, and I'm really passionate about it. So I thank you all again for whatever got you here. And if you want more information about the practice and the group that we have here in town, there's a sign-up sheet at the back of the room. My business cards are back there. Kim's business cards are back there. There are 3 of us that are co-facilitating this group. There's a lot of Southern Oregon interest group participants in the audience already, and we're 50 and growing. So if you would like to learn more about this, I'd be happy to talk to you about it. Thank you so much. Thank you all.